I can't wait for you to check out this conversation with John Mabry. His story is unbelievable. You're not going to want to miss it. He's also going to share his thoughts on the treatment center that really changed the game for him. So check it out, this conversation with John Mabry.
Here, we want to show you what's possible in the world of sobriety. We introduce you to the various tools, programs, and resources available, because there are way more options than you may even realize. We want you to find the one that works for you.
And we do it through people. People who share their pathway to recovery and will help you find your path to freedom. Because getting sober can feel hard enough. You don't have to do it alone. I'm Sarah Roberts.
And I'm Roger DeVoe, and this is Sobriety Starts Here.
John Mabry, I am so excited to have you with me today for this conversation. I have known you for a little while now and have big respect for all of the work that you're doing. So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome. So here's the deal. I want to get right into the situation at addiction campuses. You are the public outreach coordinator, I believe, for addiction campuses.
Yeah, Director of Public Outreach at Addiction Campuses, yes.
I want to hear more about addiction campuses. So tell me, what is addiction campuses? Is it a traditional treatment center? Tell us about the experience and tell us who it's for. So I know that's a lot, but you go ahead and get started.
Yeah, so I'm going to start, 5,000 foot view addiction campuses. We operate a network of inpatient treatment centers throughout the country. We're home based in Nashville, Tennessee, where I live. That's where our headquarters is. We have about 100 plus employees at that call center. And in operations. And then we have 4 residential treatment facilities throughout the country. And in all, we have about 750, 775 employees right now. And we're only 3.5 years old. So we are growing really quickly. Give you an idea of our growth. 6 months ago, we were taking about 7,000 or 8,000 calls a month into our call center. Now we're taking around 13,000 calls a month.
Wow.
So we're dealing really high volume. We deal with a lot of people. And the crazy thing is we only have a limited number of beds. So if somebody's not sure where to start, if they're ready to explore treatment and they've gone some other routes and not sure if they might need treatment or not, give us a call. Go to addictioncampuses.com. We'll have a little window pop up with one of our treatment specialists right there if you want to chat, or pick up the phone and call. And we'll walk you through. And if you're not an ideal fit for one of our facilities, or our facilities isn't the best fit for you, we'll help refer you to one that is. So you don't have to do all that homework and all that research. Let our team of specialists who do this all day, every day, help guide you to the right place if it's not one of our facilities.
I think that's a really big key when it comes to the work that you're doing, because I think that typically people might look into different treatment centers that maybe are in their neighborhood or something. Maybe they've heard have a great reputation, and then they give them a call. And then if there's nothing available for them, then what happens? And I love that you have that open experience where you really are supporting other treatment centers that might be able to do a really good job. And does that also relate to the different addictions that that the different facilities are focused on treating?
Yeah, so we're dual diagnosis. All of our facilities are dual diagnosis. So if you're dealing with an addiction and a behavioral health or a mental health issue, we can do all that. If you're one or the other or both, depending on if you're trauma focused. Somebody has a little bit more trauma that they want to focus on, we would send you to our Dallas facility, for instance, where I went to, since I have kind of a traumatic background that we'll talk about a little bit later. If you're more behavioral health issue, less addiction, then that would be maybe our Turning Point facility in South Haven, Mississippi. Give you an idea of what our facilities look like. We've got everything from professional chefs to zipline courses. Our place in Massachusetts in the Berkshire Mountains, we have cross-country ski course in the wintertime. We have art therapy. We have cooking classes. What we try to do is meet the client where they are, and a lot of treatment facilities will say that. We actually do that, and I know this because I've been on one of our campuses as a client. I relapsed a little over 2 years ago. I just posted about this morning, got some amazing feedback. It was really difficult to post me in the hospital a little over 2 years ago from a relapse. I'm laid up in the hospital. Somebody happened to be walking through from addiction campuses, shook my wife's hand and said, call this number. 24 hours later, I was in Dallas at our facility. 3 days later, I'm sitting there going, I've been to 4 treatment centers prior to, and I'm on addiction campus facility. Where am I? There's something different in the water here. And it wasn't really the zipline courses, and it wasn't the kind of the bells and whistles, as I call them. It was the staff. The staff actually cared about me more so than all the other facilities. And it says in the very first part of our mission statement, if you go to our website, It says with the heart of compassion. And so if you remember nothing else, know that Addiction Campuses is the most compassionate organization from the top down, from our CEO of over 750 employees down. We operate with a heart of compassion. That's what you're going to get as soon as you call our phone number or talk to one of our treatment specialists online. If you're not, if our facility is not the best for you, if you need something a little closer to home or further away from home, then we will help direct you. If that doesn't work out for you, our treatment specialists will find another place for you. So again, you've got one contact through the whole process. You don't have to jump around to 19 different treatment centers talking to 19 different people. Let us help guide you.
Oh man, that sounds awesome, honestly. And so you've already kind of touched on your story a little bit. I want to go deeper. I want to start at the beginning and work our way through. I mean, the fact that you've mentioned now that you went to 5 different treatment centers, that's already spurring my interest in hearing about your story. So let's get started. Let's go back to the beginning. You've got an amazing story. I don't even want to spoil a second of it. So I want to hear it from you, and let's get started with that.
All right. I'm so blessed to be able to tell it. And I'll start off by saying, don't give up. All right. I'm an example of that. People have modeled that to me, and that's something that I haven't done. And that's the only reason why I'm here today is because I haven't given up. And so my life started off, I had a really easy upbringing. I describe when I do talks around the country. I just had an easy upbringing, great childhood, great family support, everything, I needed, most everything I wanted. And I go off to college, and everything came easy to me in college. Senior year, I built up this ego. I mean, I came from high school. My senior year, I was go to class clown, most outgoing, most school spirited, best personality, right? I mean, I had the whole kind of package deal, got the all-American look, go off to college, everything provided for me. I show up, I do well, perform, great classes and Mr. Social around campus. I get to my senior year, I had a full ride scholarship my senior year, the same scholarship the athletes got for doing video work as a communications major for the athletic staff. I was dating cheerleader. I had a social chair of our fraternity. Life couldn't have been going any easier. And I go on a cruise out of New Orleans for spring break. When we get back from this cruise, there's 40 friends who go on this cruise, and we're coming back, driving from New Orleans back to Texas. And we're passing through Houston, and just north of Houston on I-45, unthinkable happens. Tire blows out in a friend's car. Nobody was drinking or driving or doing anything wrong. And the car rolled, witness reports say, between 6 and 12 times. My legs got out the window somehow, crushed numerous times. I saw it all happening. And long story short, I had a friend die in the accident, and her name was Ashley Furman. And sweet gal, great family. Hate to see them go through that, but I ended up coming out and having to really take care of myself. I couldn't really think about that. I went through 14 surgeries in 1 year and enter the painkillers. Painkillers enter the picture. I thought the alcohol that I was drinking as a fraternity guy. And I get to the end of this year of 14 surgeries, and I'm going to take this off, is I ended up having my leg amputated below the knee. So grateful to be able to have a prosthesis that helps me work out and stay active and play with my kids and do all those fun things. I thought going into cutting the leg off was going to cut the problem off, and I would move on. Problem was I never dealt with any of the internal stuff, the terror and the fear and the worry and the anxiety and all that stuff that goes along with that trauma piece. Is I thought the trauma was the physical part of the leg. I cut that off, that's gone. But now I've got this hole in my soul that's really big, and I didn't really ever deal with it. And so painkillers became a big focus on top of the alcohol. Move out to California to work on a master's in counseling to try to go help people. Never really helped myself. I get to the end of this program, and I was abusing more prescription pills, Adderall, marijuana, alcohol, painkillers, pretty much just some kind of cocktail to not really feel. Nobody really knew. I mean, I got married. My wife knew something was off, but nobody could ever put their finger on it because I was kind of this, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I was fine one minute, not the next, depending on what I was on, depending on my mood. So nobody could really nail down he's a raging alcoholic or a raging, opioid addict. So one thing led to another. I graduate May of 2005, and I just so happened to fall into an acting role in LA as a body double for my cousin in a TV show where he was going to get his leg blown off. I get brought in for the series. Here's an interesting deal where now I found a nice little niche in the industry as a technical consultant. And so after that series, we made People Magazine and Access Hollywood and had a bunch of national press on that. Ego gets built back up, right? Here I am, I'm back in the game. Nobody knew what was going on underneath the surface, though, other than my wife really was the only one that knew. And she only knew pieces of it. And man, I ended up getting an agent, and I've been in the movie Superbad, NCIS, ER, JAG, a bunch of other projects, both in front of and behind the camera. And I get to the Playboy Mansion, 2008. I forget, maybe it was November or so, 2008, with Adam Sandler. And when we're taking shots at the Playboy Mansion with Adam Sandler, you have arrived. At least I thought I had arrived. I hadn't been any lonelier in my life at that point, but everything looked great on the surface. And it was right after that I got the call that changed everything. And it was worse than losing my leg is I lost my brother. He died of an overdose, and he didn't die of the overdose. He died of the stigma associated with addiction, right? We didn't want to talk about it. It was too, it made us look bad as a family. You know, other people deal with that. We come from a good family. We come from, you know, we have resources. That shouldn't be happening to us. He's a good person. He's really smart. He should figure this out. We didn't encourage him to get help. We didn't encourage him to look for maybe treatment or 12-step meetings. And so the worst part about his story is not just that he died, but that he was found by his best friend. And I was his best friend. And so to walk in and find your only sibling and your older brother and one of your heroes lying face down from an overdose is not something you can just erase from your mind. And so take the trauma I already had, you compound that, things didn't get much better for several years. And so we moved to Nashville to try to get out of California and try to get a normal job. I couldn't get a normal job. I tried to work a normal desk job, and I'm, you know, drinking all the time and taking pills all day long and just not in a good frame of mind. I got fired by Dave Ramsey, who's a, you know, radio host here in America. He does personal finance, you know, Total Money Makeover, great Christian supportive organization. I thought might be able to kind of cure me. It didn't, but I did get a wake-up call that this thing was bigger than me, and I needed help once I got fired from that job. And so that opened the door to me finally going, okay, I think I need some help. And that only just started a whole nother journey. And that was 2011. And here we are, 2018. I've got about 2 years sobriety, and it has not been fun by any means, but it has been worth it. Anything worthwhile that's easy might not be worth it. I was just always taking the easy way out, and it didn't get me very far. But when I put in the work and I surrounded myself with a team of people, I love saying this, like in LA, we all wanted a publicist and a manager and an agent and a nutritionist and a trainer, and you want, you know, groupies. You want these people around you to help get you from where you are to where you want to be. And I have found that in recovery. I have found that by consistently showing up, even though I've relapsed 4, 5, 6, 7 times along the way, and that's okay. Don't give up. You know, there is hope out there. It can be done. If I can do it, I was one of the most laziest. I made so many excuses. I had so many excuses. My leg felt, you know, I got my leg cut off. My friend died. I found my brother dead. Yes, those happened to me, but it was my responsibility to deal with that. You know, it didn't matter whose fault it was. It was my responsibility to pick up the pieces. And I didn't do it on my own. I had to do it with the team. I have therapists, I have pastor, I have coworker. Now I'm in a field where I can go be honest about myself. I don't have to go to like a hidden 12-step meeting somewhere in a basement of a building somewhere in town and then go into normal society and try to act normal. I had to find that I just need to be open all the time. I can't just play sober sometimes and then go to these 12-step meetings and do my own thing. Like, I just got to be open all the time. So I found an outlet where I can do that through this line of work. And so
wow. I want to jump in and just, first of all, applaud you for all of the work that you've done on yourself over the years. I can't even imagine the kind of trauma that you suffered, and the fact that you have overcome and that you keep going is inspiring to so many people, myself included. So let's backtrack a little bit. You are, so you're in college when you lose your leg, and then you get through college, you still managed to graduate. I don't even know how you ended up doing that, because for most of us, just getting through college normally is hard to do. But the fact that you got through it after many surgeries, after your leg was amputated, I can't even imagine. Did you ever feel like you were suffering with PTSD after any of these traumas along the way? Or did you feel, and if that's the case, that's why you were self-medicating, but did you ever have it treated? Did you ever see anybody along the way as far as therapy or to try to get some help while you were going through it?
Yeah, great question. I went with undiagnosed PTSD for about a decade. I mean, duh. You're in a traumatic car accident where you see your legs getting crushed and your, bones and everything are sticking out of your leg, and you go through 14 surgeries, you end up amputating it, and you had a friend die. Yes, there's post-traumatic stress involved there. I had nobody kind of wrap everything that I was going through into a package and say, you're dealing with PTSD for over a decade. And so I was kind of spot treating along the way, which I think is kind of normal for a lot of people. Hey, I'm struggling with this issue. Let me go work on that. Now I'm struggling with, with depression. So let me get some antidepressants. Well, now I can't sleep. I'm also not sleeping well. So let's work on some of the insomnia stuff. Next thing you know, I'm taking about 6 or 7 or 8 different medications for these different things. And then it wasn't until I finally went to a trauma therapist here in town. I was like, man, I'm dealing with trauma. Instead of going to a general psychiatrist or psychologist that's maybe works with, families or works with kids in ADHD, or their website says, I work with all of these things. Yes, they do. But I've found huge benefit in going to a specialist, somebody that's dealing especially with what I'm dealing with. If you're dealing with a childhood trauma, go to somebody who deals with childhood trauma. And so and addiction. And I had to go be honest and say, I'm dealing with addiction and trauma. Where do I go? Well, they know what medications that I can and cannot take, where other psychiatrists didn't know. And so I'm abusing pills that he's given me, thinking he thinks he's helping, when in reality, I didn't even know. But when I went to a trauma therapist who knows all this, who knows addiction, could wrap it all up into a package and go, here's what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. And it was profound to be able to go and work with somebody that really knew what I was dealing with. And
I can only imagine. I was thinking too, when you were talking about recovering out loud, this has already become a pretty common theme with the people that we have had conversations with on Sobriety Starts Here. I can't believe how many people connect with that, where they're saying that's my story too, where until I finally was fully integrated, where I wasn't hiding my truth from some and sharing it with other people, being ashamed of it over here, being kind of proud of it over here, but feeling weird about it in every sense. Until I finally integrated all of it, I was just sort of floundering, and I don't feel like I was truly recovering. I was definitely sober for a long time, but I didn't feel like I was fully thriving in sobriety and in recovery. So I'm so glad that that's part of your story as well, and part of your message, because I think it's strong. I think it's powerful. I think that not for everybody when they're first starting out. I mean, there's so much terror and fear about sharing our truth and what's going on. But I just encourage anyone that's watching this right now and that's thinking, oh my gosh, I could never imagine telling anybody what I'm going through, especially when you first get sober and you think that you're so other and strange and weird and it's not normal and you feel like everyone's looking at you. It will get easier, and there will likely become a time where you do want to celebrate your sobriety, where you do want to celebrate the fact that you are free from these addictions that are holding us down. So well done to you, John, as well, for wanting to live out loud and knowing that that was part of your recovery journey. I want to talk about your relapses. Tell us a little bit about them. And I love that you've experienced them. I relapsed as well. And it was I relapsed really only one big time. And I feel like for me, that was 4 years into my recovery. And it was the best thing, because I always sort of had this thought in my mind that, and not that everyone should plan on relapsing, I'm not saying that, but for me, it really was helpful because I always had that feeling, that gut, I wonder if I can try to be a normie, as they call it, or if I can maybe try to, work it into my life in some way that is safe and acceptable and that I can control it. And of course, that obviously isn't the case, but it was kind of a good thing for me to go through that relapse because it was very obvious. You can either keep going down the road that you're going, which is a good one, where you know that you're safer and it's a better place, or you can just decide to regress and go back to what you know, and it's dangerous and scary territory. So for me, it was helpful. I want to hear about yours.
Yeah, absolutely. You learn something from every relapse, and so they're definitely not wasted if you if you get back on and keep going. It's so shameful and embarrassing when it happens, because you're trying to do the right thing. But here's why I relapse. I think, and I'll just speak for me, is every day I believe that I have a hole in my soul. Every single day I wake up from my bed over here and I have a hole in my soul, and I'm going to fill it with something. I believe that the God of my understanding, God that I believe in, built me to every day need to fill that hole with something. And so I'm either going to reach for a bottle of pills or a bottle of alcohol, or I'm going to reach for pornography or whatever it is to fill that hole. Or I can reach for something that I've learned over time through program of recovery and learning and making mistakes along the way. I've got to fill it with staying connected with other people in recovery. I need to go to support group meetings. I need to, just stay connected. That's what it's really about, is staying connected. And it's not always easy to do, because I want to take control back. I got this. I got it today. And really what's at the root of my relapses was fear. Fear of whatever it is, fear of not performing well enough at work, or, hey, what are they thinking about me? Or even when I got some sobriety under my belt, I didn't feel confident as a father and a husband, because for so many years it was just a lie. We got to cover up everything daddy's doing so the kids don't see that. So there's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt from there. So then there's fear of what my kids are going to think of me later on. So a lot of it's just kind of fear driven. And the way that somebody can work with that is by getting in with a counselor, getting connected with a 12-step group, with some program of recovery, so you can talk through those things when you have them, because we're going to have fears, we're going to have anxieties and worries. Talk through it so that you can move past it, instead of just sitting in it and going, crud, I need to take something outside my body and pour it in to be able to calm that down. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can feel that too. So I'm curious, what is the aftercare when it comes to, I know I'm kind of tracking back out of your story for a minute, but I'm thinking you talked about that you don't like the idea of going to meetings and, in church basements and that kind of thing. So what is the aftercare? What's the difference of aftercare at addiction campuses versus other treatment centers that I believe are, most often 12-step based, like 90 and 90, do 90 meetings in 90 days afterwards?
Yeah, that's a great timing asking that question, because we have a brand new program put in place. It's called A Balanced Life. And so no other treatment center in the country is doing it on this level. Balanced Life has been going on for about a year at our facilities. And so what that is somebody comes into our facility, they're going to, as they come in through the intake process, they're going to have access to our online program called A Balanced Life. They're going to fill out the assessment. It looks at 6 areas of your life: social, financial, relationships, work and finances, health and fitness, these type of areas, and find out what's most out of balance. And so you're going to start working with your counselor when you're in treatment on what's most out of balance. When you leave, you're also going to have access to that program. Not just are you going to have access to it on your phone or your computer at home, you're also going to have weekly online coaching calls. You're going to have access to a life coach. And then right now, I just got the phone right before we got on this call with our marketing team. And now we've got 365 text messages that are going to be going out once a day to everybody that graduates our program. Is going to stay connected. We're going to connect with them with a single text message every single day as a reminder. Hey, here's a little nugget of information that might be able to help keep you going for today. They're always going to have access to our online coach, to our life coaches and the online group. So again, it's about staying connected. A lot of people will have a kind of a program set when they graduate treatment. Hey, you're going to go see this therapist. You're going to go to these meetings, and you're going to maybe work on some fitness. Well, the problem is, once you get out of treatment, your world is blown, because all that alcohol and whatever you were using to settle your emotions down are gone. So now you still have all these emotions coming up. How do I deal with that? Well, if you're not at a meeting and you can't talk to somebody right then and there, log on to our online group through people that you've met at treatment. So we're creating a more robust program that's going to keep people connected more frequently, longer term. And that program is designed for 15 months after. So you say you're in treatment 30 or 60 days. Now you got 15 months of staying connected with a quality company with thousands of graduates.
Wow, impressive. I'm so glad that you guys are taking that type of a look at what happens after people leave treatment, because I've shared this in other conversations. My father went to treatment and left and was not really connecting with the whole 90 and 90, didn't really feel comfortable in the AA group that he went to, and then he found himself relapsing very quickly after treatment. And we were, as a family, thinking, is that it? And not that it can't be it for some people. Some people, those meetings are all that they need, and it's fabulous, and it works really well for them. For other people, I agree with you. I think they might want to take a more holistic approach and look at all of the ways that their addiction is showing up in their lives. I thought that was interesting. I don't know that I necessarily feel like every day I have a hole in my soul and I have to fill it. But it's something to think about for sure, because definitely I wake up every day and know that there are certain things that I want to do and have to do to maintain my sobriety, to maintain my health in my recovery. I know that I want to eat well. I want to exercise my body. I want to meditate. I want to be mindful. I want to seek connection. And I find that a really interesting look at it, that every day we want to be making sure that we are doing what we need to do to stay recovered. But you're so right, in those tender days after you get out of treatment, where you feel raw and vulnerable, where you're not safe anymore, where the whole world is, you look around and it feels dangerous and scary, this 15-month program could be exactly what people need to be able to get them to the other side in a safe and really accountable way. I think it's awesome, and I'm really impressed that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I love working where I work. I mean, this isn't, if you see my shirt, Addiction Campus is family. This is what it's about. We are your family long term, not just when you're at our facility. And again, going back to what started this conversation, I felt that by stepping on the campus, and all the staff knew me by first name by the third day I was there. I would say that other places for 45 days, and staff didn't know me by first name. I'm just a number. I mean, they may have known me because I'm the one-legged guy. And, we don't have many one-legged guys here. But we really are a family. Of course, we have the alumni, our private alumni Facebook groups that anybody would have access to. So, and the balanced life can also be for family members. So this is a family disease. If you put all the attention on the person that's struggling with the addiction, what about the other people? We can still help those folks too. Even if somebody that you love isn't getting the help that they need, you can still come to us. Go to our website right now, and we can maybe get you set up with the Balanced Life program just for you. Maybe it's you and your husband, or you and your wife. That's something that you can be working on yourself to take care of you. If little Johnny, 18, 19-year-old Johnny is struggling with heroin, which is more and more prevalent these days. If you have family members struggling, you take care of yourself, and we've got resources for that as well.
Brilliant. Really, really well done. Okay, so let's continue with your story. So we got to the point where, so you're married and you're dealing with this stuff. You get that new job in Nashville, you get fired. Then what happens?
So then it was, where do I go? What do I do? And so I'd never been to treatment. We avoided it as a family because obviously my brother, we didn't seek out treatment for him when he really needed it, and he died. So it was like, crap, I'm going to die if I don't get some help. And so we started with a church counselor, and that just kind of opened the door to some, getting some resources. And, it's such a process. I'm just trying to take all that in from 2011 to 2015, 5 treatment centers in 4 years. Yeah, it was not pretty, spending all the time and money to go and then relapse. And
so what happened? Tell us why do you feel it didn't work for you those 5 times?
Well, so it may not have worked for me long term. They all gave me some tools. Each experience that I went through, every 12-step meeting that I went to gave me something. You just got to keep, it's just like working out. When you go to the gym and you go and work out for 30 straight days, and you leave that gym after 30 days of working your tail off, and you leave and you don't go do anything, guess what? You're going to, all that muscle you built, all that fitness, all that cardio that you built up is just going to go right back down. You're going to have to start all back over again. So getting out of treatment doesn't fix people. Treatment gives people the tools. Kind of like college doesn't allow me to go get a job and maintain a job. It gives me the tools so that when I get out of college, I can go apply, and I have to wake up every single day and go to work. I have to wake up every single day, talk to my boss every single day, and make those phone calls and send those emails. You have to put in the work every single day, or that job's going to go away.
Right.
Treatment's the same way, and or recovery is the same way. You can't just go send somebody somewhere for 30 days, expect them to get spiritually and soberly fit, and then come home and not continue to do the things that they were taught to do. So that was the thing, is I thought, I learned some stuff that'll carry me for a while. I did 45 days in a treatment center. That'll carry me for a couple of years. No, I got to do the work every single day, little things every single day, or it starts to slowly fall apart, or quickly sometimes.
Fascinating. And it really makes me wonder, I don't know the statistics necessarily. I don't know the statistics for people who stage interventions, but for those people that just, I interviewed somebody who his family intervened and it was the best thing for him. I think it was almost like it was just that perfect time and perfect arrangement where it was exactly what he needed, and he knew it, and he did the work, and he continued to do the work after getting out, like you talked about. But I wonder what the stats are for people who just kind of get thrown in there because their family is telling them to go, and then they leave, and it's like, well, like you say, if they're not going to continue to do the work, if they really didn't buy in then it might not be worthwhile necessarily. Although, like you say, you're always going to take something away from it. So I'm really glad that no matter what, those experiences just kind of built upon one another. It sounds like, and then on your, was it your fifth try that it kind of worked, that it really worked better?
Yeah. You just kind of, you know, you finally get to a point where it's like, okay, they've been telling me to just let everything go, let the ego go. But it's not a one-time thing. It's not like, oh, I'm at treatment, I let go of everything, and now I'm gone. I've got to let go of that every single day. Every day I wake up, I've got that hole, I'm going to fill it with something, but then I've got this ego and this, you know, I got this. By now, you know, people see me out giving talks and, you know, doing stuff on TV. Doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. I've still got to get up every single day and put in, you know, the work.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your life now. So tell us how it looks. So you ended up getting a job. How did you get the job at Addiction Campuses? How did that come about?
Yeah. So again, 3 days into my stay there, I'm like, dude, there's something different in the water here. Prime example of one of the things that how we teach people is, you know, we're not just a cold hospital setting. We have outdoors, we have the wilderness, we have, you know, mind, body, spirit approach. We went hiking one day and I'm crossing this log over a creek at our Dallas treehouse facility where we actually have a treehouse where we do yoga classes. And right underneath that, I'm crossing this creek and I fall in. I have a stick. And I'm walking about halfway across the log and I let go of the stick and I take the next step and I fall in, boom. And Dalton, our outdoor wilderness guy, he comes up and he's like, you know, pull me out. He said, John, what can you learn in your recovery from this experience? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I just fell in the water. Like, oh, let's laugh. He goes, no, I don't care. Like, let's take this and learn from it. I'm like, okay. Maybe if I'm using a tool and something's working for me, don't quit using it. He's like, exactly. You know, if you're using a sponsor, if you turn to a sponsor and that's working for you, don't let go of that sponsor because next thing you know, you're out here by yourself and you're opening yourself up to falling. So those are just kind of just an example that came to mind that I wanted to throw out to the audience of unique way that we try to teach. Going back to your question, what was it again?
So how did you end up finding yourself at Addiction Campuses?
Yeah, so I walked in with a resume.
Like as a career.
Yeah, so I walked in with a resume. I graduated the program, found out that they're based here in Nashville, and was like, dude, I want to be a part of this. I've invented a product that's distributed around the world for amputees. I've been a part of, you know, major Hollywood, you know, projects, stuff that's been seen around the world, and I still get checks for. I don't care about that stuff. I care about this organization and the way that I was treated, and I want to make sure other people continue to get that kind of care. So I walked in with a resume, and I was like, I will work for free. I will wash cars out in the parking lot. I don't care. Let me be a part of this, please. And then I said, oh, by the way, I have a master's in counseling, and I just graduated from the treehouse. And they're like, really? Maybe we can find a place for you. And so, yeah, you know, it's a God thing. It's absolutely a God thing where now, I mean, I'm speaking alongside Megan Barry here in Nashville, lost her son to an overdose 6 or 8 months ago, and he was in Colorado. I've spoken on live TV with her at a town hall meeting on local Fox late last year. I'm going around talking to schools and universities and really just connecting. Our mission at Addiction Campuses is helping people with a heart of compassion through my story. And so, you know, if you have a story that you're not quite willing to share, that's okay. I didn't start off by just going out in front of, you know, the national news and start sharing. I started off at a 12-step meeting. I started off with my therapist. I started off slow, dabbling a little bit. And over time, I've gotten more comfortable going. The more vulnerable I allow myself to be, one, the more free I feel. And then two, the more I can help other people. And, so my life today is I get to live at home. I lived in a trailer in 2013. Sarah kicked me out of here, and I'm living in a trailer down by the side of the river, kind of like Chris Farley. I'm living in a van down by the river. I was actually doing that. I went from the Playboy Mansion to this trailer. I've also lived in a friend's house from our church after another relapse. So it has not always been just a nice, easy go here at our house. It's been
wow. So Sarah actually asked you to leave at one point, and you were living in a trailer. Your wife, Sarah.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to go to like a real nice, fancy, halfway house kind of thing, and it was like, no, like I need consequences. And so.
And was that because she had found out the truth, or what kind of? Because I know you were kind of hiding how much you were using and the alcohol use, and so this is a relapse, obviously.
Yeah, it was after my second round of treatment.
Yeah.
After the second treatment center that I went to, she was like, the first time I went to treatment center, I came right home, relapsed pretty quickly, tried to work it out for months and months, and that didn't work out too well. It was actually after my third treatment center. After my third time in treatment, she was like, you're not coming home. That doesn't work when you go to treatment and you come home. It's not working. You need more consequences. And I was like, wow. Yeah, you're probably right.
Wow.
So I was open to the idea of, man, maybe I need to not live in the nicest place. And so the trailer I lived in, had holes in the floor and there was mold all over the bathroom. And I mean, it was not a good situation.
And was that meant to be a long, like, was she looking to end the marriage? And you had children at the time, did you not?
God works in crazy ways. She was actually coming to the treatment center on the first Sunday when there was family visiting hours to come and tell me that she was going to leave, that she was going to file for divorce. And that morning she said, something's off, something's not quite right. She took a pregnancy test. And instead of coming to tell me she was going to be sending me papers and treatment, she came and handed me a positive pregnancy test. And she felt stuck. And by the grace of God, we're still married today. And our daughter will be 4 in May. And so I get to go to my first daddy-daughter dance on Friday. So 2 days from now, I get to go to my first daddy-daughter dance.
Oh my goodness. That is a beautiful, beautiful story. I am so happy that you were able to work through this together as a family and that you are going to get to go to that dance. That is going to be so special. I can only imagine. I really hope you take pictures and post them on Facebook and let me see. That is wonderful. I am so proud of you. I'm so excited for you and where your life is headed. You are also the, I don't know if you're the founder. Are you the founder of High Sobriety podcast?
No, I'm just the host. Again, they came to me. Again, God doing for me. I just kind of show up and start showing. I'm working a program, and I show up at work every day, not drunk, and they give you promotions. And then they came to me and was like, "Hey, would you want to do a podcast?" And so, man, I've had members of the band Korn. I've had you on the show. We've had Lindsay Lohan's dad on a few times. Members from Three Doors Down and Three Dog Night, and my trauma therapist who really helped get under the surface. We've had my trauma therapist, Dr. Lee Norton, on there. It's called High Sobriety, and we just put them up on YouTube about a week and a half ago. So people can go to YouTube, type in Addiction Campuses, High Sobriety, and all the episodes will be there, or on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all those places.
And I love the podcast so much. It's one of those podcasts where it's great because not that I don't love listening to long podcasts that are really fun while you're grocery shopping or cooking dinner or something and you've got some time, to listen, but yours are kind of that really nice sweet spot of you get right into the meat of things. You really have good conversations with people. There's a really good message and then everybody gets to move on and feel like they've done something for their recovery. So definitely people watching right now, check out, I think it's highsobriety.org. Is it not, if they want to go directly to the source?
Honestly, just go to, just Google
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It's through our website somehow.
Yep. Excellent. So yeah, starting it out at addictioncampuses.com and then everything else is available from there, including the phone number where you can call if you want to get in touch with John's team of amazing people that are working their magic at Addiction Campuses. I'm really impressed with what I'm hearing. And I am just so grateful for you and for your story and for where you have come from and where you've gone and the fact that you get to inspire people every single day through your talks and through all of the good work that you're doing. Keep it up. You are inspiring. You are amazing. I am so proud and honored to know you. You are the real deal. You and I have now been connected for, I guess, almost a year, I think. And it's been awesome getting to know you. So thank you so much for being with me here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to stay connected with me on social media, I'm John Clint Mabry on all, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, John Clint Mabry. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh my goodness, the pleasure was mine. Thank you, John. Have a wonderful afternoon, and absolutely, everybody definitely connect with John. His story is inspiring, and make sure that you log into High Sobriety Podcast and check out Addiction Campuses if you are looking for a treatment center that's a little bit different, that might have something that you're looking for, something a little bit more holistic. And I encourage you to check that out. To get access to all of the free videos and interviews, visit sobrietystartshere.com.